welcome to the MineWreckers server. My name is Weird and Bearded. In today's episode, we are going to be building the last two of what I consider to be the fundamental farms, especially for redstoning, namely a gold farm and a piglin bartering farm. Now, I haven't designed the piglin bartering yet, but these shulker boxes, plus the 3 in my inventory, are all for the gold farm. So we've got some materials in here, we've got some materials in here, and then all the rest of them are filled with magma blocks, plus 3 that still need to be filled. So I'm going to be meeting Top in the nether to get this built, but first of all, I need to finish filling up these shulker boxes. So I'm going to get this done. We're going to meet up with Top, maybe have a little chat about the farm, maybe go straight into a time-lapse. Who knows? We're going to find out now.
Today, we're building something. What it is, I have absolutely no idea, but I know we're using magma cubes, and that's it. I literally know nothing else, but I think we got this. We got the 2 brains and then the dumbass here. Let's go.
Woo! For those who do want to know what's going on, this is the area we've chosen for our gold farm. We're going to build a gold farm, Ren.
Ooh.
So we've got 3 shulker boxes of not magma, and all of the rest of these shulker boxes are magma. I think we're just going to get straight on with it.
Yep, let's go.
Go team!
Okay.
Go team!
We did it! Look at all those
Yay.
lovely zombified piglins fall to their death. I'll be doing a little explanation for how this works, but essentially you can see we got some turtle eggs in the middle. They see the turtle eggs, rush towards them, and then I've got a little crafting bit at the bottom, which I'll talk about in my episode. Thank you both. That was a fun couple of hours.
I was muted, but you're welcome.
Well done, Top. I thought that might be the case. This is a fun farm to watch.
It really is.
Yeah.
As you saw there, we have the gold farm all up and running. It is working fully as intended. So you can see we have a nice, near constant stream of piglins falling to their death. If I go into free cam mode and head to the bottom, then we can see a bit clearer because we've got 16 floors of this stuff. And this is all working quite nicely. So from there, any rotten flesh gets sorted out of the hopper streams and thrown into lava because we don't need the rotten flesh. And then the nuggets go into these weird storage systems, which are all going into droppers. So then you can stand underneath, you can pull the lever, and they all get activated by observers, pouring golden nuggets into your inventory, which you can then craft into ingots for the final storage. So that's the gold farm done. But there is still another thing I want to do in today's episode, which will probably take a bit longer, because this one is a little less planned. So the next thing is a piglin bartering farm, because now we've got gold, we may as well build a bartering farm as well. I'm going to build it close by because it makes sense for these 2 farms to be connected. And I came up with a design yesterday, but I need to gather some resources. I do actually need some gold, but I need a lot of other things as well. So I'm going to do a bit of resource hunting, bring everything back, and then we'll start talking through my bartering plan. It has been a couple of hours. We still have some zombified piglins coming down and dying, which is great because it means that while we're using the piglin bartering, we will still be getting some gold coming through. That's going to be very useful for us. But in the meantime, I have got 3 shulker boxes of things, which I'm going to be using to build up the piglin bartering station. I think I'm going to start off with the sorting system. There's quite a lot of sorting to do. We're going to be putting things into 120 different barrels. They will be marked. I don't actually have the things to mark them yet because I haven't started bartering. But I think if I get those set up first, it's going to give us the framework for where everything else is going to go, and hopefully it will make things make a little bit more sense. So I need a lot of stuff from here. These barrels are going to empty pretty quickly just from this section. And I'll get back to you when that's done. As you can see, the sorting systems are all in place. This took a little while. There's a lot to get done here, but that is actually most of the blocks placed for this build. I've also started filling up the hoppers if I head up to the top. So they all currently have the filler stuff in. As I said, we'll get the rest of the things when we actually start using this, and then I'm going to get everything organised. We do have a zombified piglin over there. He's been helping out. I'm guessing would have spawned around these blocks. So I need to make sure all of this stuff is non-spawnable, mainly so we can keep the efficiency of the gold farm going. Next, I think we're going to get in the item line. So normally with a sorting system, you'd have everything going through hoppers. Hopper stream is not going to be fast enough for this bartering system. So we're going to have some nice lanes of blue ice. And then we've got to move the items across them, but let's get those in first, and then I can explain how that is going to work. We have an ice path in place, so the ice path goes past all of the hoppers. We also have a ladder. This is going to where those using the farm is going to have to go. So they will climb up the ladder. We'll sort out where the gold goes in a bit, but they climb up the ladder, and they end up on this pressure plate when they are using it. So the items will come towards them and into the ice path. And the reason we've got the pressure plate is because we can't have water moving the items around, so we're going to need to use some sticky pistons and slime blocks, stuff like that. So I'm going to get those all in place. I was very confused by that noise just then. It must be some more piglins dying, and yeah, that's the rotten flesh being put aside. So yeah, we're going to add a timing system to this, get that attached to a load of sticky pistons, and that's going to be the ice bit all done, and then we can work on the actual bartering station itself. So when we're stood on this pressure plate, it's going to activate that sticky piston, which is going to cause a little redstone loop there. So as the block moves forward, it's going to power those repeaters, which is going to turn off the torch, unpower the system, then the torch turns back on, etc., etc. That is then going into a pulse limiter, so we can then see all this in action. So you can see that rotates and then that activates, and all of these sticky pistons will fire. So we start off with that one, the items come along here, then that one will activate, pushing them into the sea pickles, which are going to align them all. So they'll be on the blue ice and the hoppers at the same time, much like a regular system, and it's going to lead them all the way to the end. So they're only going to fall down if they're above a hopper that they can fall into, which we're going to need to configure later. But that is this bit of the timing system all sorted. I say this bit because there's going to be a little bit more later on. But I think let's get in the ice path up to where the piglins are going to sit. And I may add a little bit more to it. We'll see. That should be the last of the redstone in place. We've got a little bit more to add after this just to help get the piglins into place. But this is the last of the redstone for while you're actually running the farm. So now off of this line, we also have a piston here, just because some of the gold falls down a little too far away for them to get hold of. So we have this just pushing the gold forwards every now and then. We also have a line up here, which is going to block all of these hoppers. So you go around, you split your gold between these 4 chests. They're not going to be taken yet. They're only going to be taken when you're in position because they're going to try to throw the gold at you. So when they're in place, if I come down to the pressure plate, they're going to throw them directly towards me, and there's a little gap there for everything to fall down. Now, hoppers can deal with 2.5 items per second. We've got 4 things feeding into them, so that's 10 items per second. Piglins take 6 seconds to barter. So over that time, we're going to have 60 gold ingots feeding in. So we need 60 piglins. And that is why we've got these vines here. I did actually just put down one, but they've been spreading quite quickly, weirdly. So the vines mean that anything in here counts as climbing. Because if mobs are climbing, they don't get the entity cramming damage. So we can get more than 24 into that space. So I think my next steps, I'm going to get some slabs and stuff, just to make everything non-spawnable. And then we'll get the rail line in. I'm going to go get some slabs, because I didn't think about that beforehand, so I need to get those freshly prepared. We'll get the rail line in, and then it's time to collect all of the piglins from somewhere. I have not planned that bit out yet. Let's see what happens. The spawn proofing has been done. There's a small area on the blue ice up there that I can't really spawn proof because we can't have blocks getting in the way, but that's fine. That's hopefully not going to be a problem. We've got the rail system going. So the idea is, if I quickly fly over here, just beyond this carpet, we have a crimson forest. So I'm going to build up a load of blocks around here, and piglins can spawn. I could do it over at the nether waste area, but then we also have a chance of ghast spawning. Also over there, piglins spawn 8% of the time, where it's going to be 33% of spawns over here. So it's just generally going to be better. They're going to spawn. I'm going to get ones with swords to chase me, not crossbows, because obviously they could just shoot you at the bartering area. So ones with swords only, because they can't get to me. I'm going to throw them a pair of boots. I want ones aren't wearing boots. I'm going to throw them a pair of boots. If they put them on, then they're not going to despawn, and we can keep them. Then they're going to chase me back towards the rail. And if they get into the minecart, like so, then they are going to be dropped off inside the cage, where because of the trapdoor, they cannot get out. Sounds simple. Let's see if it's going to be simple. Well, that wasn't nearly as bad as it could have been. It worked out at about 3 minutes per piglin, so about 3 hours total, which is still quite a lot. But they are now all in place. So if we climb up this ladder, it's going to get a little bit loud because, well, there are 60 piglins in there. And I can jump down onto here, and you'll see they all spot me, they get angry, they face in the same direction. So the next step, over in this direction, I better don't fly over. I need to get rid of this platform now and do a little bit of tidying up of the rails around here. I did find I needed to change what they look like. If I got them into this corner, it was much easier to get them into the minecart. Then I'm going to feed them maybe 2 stacks of gold just so I can get all the different stuff and get this all looking right and set up right. And then this is done. So I'm going to get that fed in, and then we'll take a look at it all in action. Well, everything is now set up. As you can see, it is all working wonderfully, and we get a lot of items through at once. So let's go through the system one more time. I'm going to go into free cam mode because I kind of need to stay here until it's got all the gold that's in there, which is a 1 night AFK session's worth. So you can see, if we just go up here, the gold all being dispensed, and then some of it lands at the back, so every now and then it just gets pushed forward so they can reach everything. Then all their stuff comes and lands against the chest that's lined up with the hoppers, and then we have it all pushed across. Like that, it flies over to that sticky piston, which then pushes it against there and across to here. Once again, against the chest, and across, and then across back into those sea pickles. And you'll notice that the number of items there is gradually dropping each time until all the non-stackable items can get picked up. So that is all now working. I've also got everything in place to identify what everything is down below. I realise I probably should have done this before I went into the farm so I could show you with the character, but oh well, we've got free cam mode. So yes, obviously some things you can't really show. So for string, I've got wool. For iron nuggets, I've got iron blocks. For leather, I've used orange wool because reasons. The spectralaries have glowstone, which I feel works. The ender pearls have purple terracotta, and the fire charges have magma blocks. There's no real rhyme or reason, I just went for things that felt about right. And that is this bit complete. So we now have a gold farm, we now have piglin bartering. We should have got this set up much, much earlier, but at least it's ready now. Oh, also for the nether quartz blocks, nether brick blocks. It makes it easy. That is all working. That is all working very nicely. I'm going to stay here until the piglins finish bartering, but in the meantime, we can do it this way. Thank you all for watching. If you like the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already. My name is Weird and Bearded, and I will see you all next time.